Hey everybody, this is my book review. The book that I chose to read and to review is called The Importance of Being Little and What Young Children Really Need from Grown-Ups by Erica Christakis. This book was published in 2016. Um, just a little bit about the author. Erica was a preschool teacher and had been a preschool teacher for a while, and she also has worked with the Yale University Child Study Center. So she's a very experienced author, and she has a bunch of different books, kind of on the same topic, but have different underlining different subjects that they talk about. But it's all about the importance of kids being little and just different things about them. The reason I chose this book, um, not only did it go along with our class, but it's a book that I'd had in my Amazon cart for a while and thought that I thought I could benefit from as being a parent and a teacher. Because sometimes I think those things fall so closely together. And with my children being still small, my oldest is 6, I still sometimes just, forget that I am a teacher, but I am a mom first. And so this book really caught my eye because the reviews that I read, there were just as many reviews of people saying they use this book to benefit their parenting as much as they did being a teacher. And so I just thought it was a really good book for me to choose, and just the title, The Importance of Being Little. I think that's something that's always kind of looked over, just how important these little kids are. I just think I have started to realize that more since becoming a pre-K teacher. When I taught first grade, I thought those kids were little. And then when I got to pre-K, I really understand the importance of these years in pre-K and just how important it is for those kids to be loved on and, praised, and just all the efforts that go into being a pre-K teacher and being a parent of pre-K students. And how this book pertains to the class, it hits so many issues and the trends that are going on right now that I feel like are always being brought up in our school and other schools. It's just one of those books that kind of covers everything. It was just overall, in general, just a really good read to kind of hit all kinds of topics of education. So a quick summary. I'm sorry, I'm out of breath. I'm trying to beat my kids in here. A quick summary. I'm just going to kind of run through some of the chapters, and just kind of what those chapters said and what it meant. This book is just an overall why being little is so important. And I feel like it kind of answers itself in the title. We know it's important because their minds are just so absorbent. They take in so much, and it's the fun time. Being little is so much fun, and it just comes and goes so fast. And that's actually one of the first things that I wrote down was, this time is so short. And that's one of the things that the author says, that, kids are only little once, and it goes so fast, and then they're gone and they're grown up and they're a part of society. And, what do we do to feed into that? And that's what this book is about. We've got to feed into them while they're little and give them all the effort that we can while they're taking it in. Because once they get into those adolescent years and those teen years, the things that should have already been instilled, it's too late to bring those back up. So in chapter 1, it was just talking about the little learners and talking about how the best way to teach children in this age is to use kind of a mix between direct instruction and child-led instruction. And I think that that is something that is so true. I see that during our center time. I try to let my children be have as many choices and as many options as possible. I want them to be able to feel like they're in control of their education at that time. They may not realize that they're teaching themselves, but just those conversations that they're having with their peers, and those conversations that, they get to have with me and my assistant while they're going through those centers, they're really getting to choose that. And it's so important. But then there's also such a need for direct instruction. I actually got observed this week by somebody from the State Department and was told that I was doing too much teacher direct instruction during a whole group time. But I think that that's sometimes just a miss. And that's, this chapter talked about that, is these kids are little. They have to be taught. You've got to teach them directly. You've got to teach them how to listen, how to be learners. And that's what we're here to do. And that was one of the quotes, is you have to learn how to learn. And that's what we're here to do. Chapter 2 was talking about finding the right zones for learning. And that just kind of goes through your classroom environment, your classroom setup, and learning through play, communicating with their peers and communicating with others. They can't really learn if you have a chaotic classroom, or maybe if you have a lot of chaos as a teacher, or a lot of things going on. It's hard for the kids to focus in because they pick up on so many things that are going on. Chapter 3 talked about creative powers of childhood, and that does not always mean crafts. Crafts. This is one of the things that kind of hit me like a dart, because it's something that I know that I have done, and they actually use the example of you don't always have to make a turkey handprint, and that is so relevant right now with Thanksgiving being next week. That's all you see through our hallway in our classrooms at my school is you see turkeys everywhere. Everybody's got a different feather hat, or we have a handprint turkey, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we have to be able to have the mindset that, could we do something different? Let's change it up. Let's ask the kids their opinion. Let's bring in their creativity. Yes, we can make a handprint, but does it have to have, 4 different colored feathers? What if they want their turkey to have all blue feathers? We have to be open-minded and be willing to let their creative side come out, because it doesn't necessarily mean that they have to make this turkey the way that I say that this turkey has to be, because that's what I did when I was in elementary school. That's not what it means. We have to just let kids be creative and to teach us their creative ways. Chapter 4 was a chapter that I found so interesting. It was called the unstandard learning. It talked about how standards, basically, we can just throw them out the window. Yes, we have standards that we need to follow. These kids need to meet standards, but we should not be teaching a standard just to say, yes, you know the skill, no, you don't. We need to be teaching, and through these teaching methods, the kids just happen upon these standards. We do a standard-based report card where I teach, and it's so hard every 9 weeks to decide, oh, you get a 1 in that, or you get a 2 in that skill, just depending upon how often you have shown me that you can do it. Skills and standards and testing has kind of taken over our kids, and even in pre-K we give a test every 9 weeks on the computer, and you just can't expect a 4-year-old to perform perfectly every time you give a test. They may bomb it one day and do amazing the next day, just depending on if they liked what they had to eat for lunch that day. And so this chapter just really hit me hard. I need to do my job and teach the kids the way I think that they are going to learn best, and just do the best I can. And if we meet all those standards, great. But if my kids just get a well-rounded, overall great education, that's what I'm there to do. I'm going to skip a few of the other ones and get to the ones that I found the most important. Another chapter was called Habitat Loss and the Extinction of Play. This is probably one of the biggest issues that we're facing in my pre-K program right now. We're having our state and then our administration are kind of clashing on what they want to see in the pre-K classrooms. So the state department is wanting to see more of the teacher directed, single, you're following a schedule, doing the same thing all day, every day, having that structure that's exactly the same. But then our administration is wanting to see the play all day long, which is what, we were kind of told we needed to do, because the children at the preschool age and being little, they learn through play. And it's not necessarily, play, like running around outside, but those, the more structured play, like building blocks. And this week we're talking about community helpers. So can you build me a fire station? And can you build me the dentist office? And, pretending to be a doctor in the home living center. And those are those things that really teach those kids those life skills and things that they see every day and that we need to be introducing them to. And so I just think that that's so important. And that chapter just told you all about play and how you need to bring that into your classroom and make it as purposeful and as meaningful as you possibly can. And then the last chapter talked about the role that the grown-ups play. This talked about being the teacher grown-up, being the parent grown-up, the aunt, the uncle, any grown-up that is involved in a child's life. You are important. You have to bring home the things that your kids are doing at school and bring them into your household, because we all have had students that have come from a broken home or come from, a home where mom and dad are working 2 or 3 jobs, and they may not get to put all that into their student, into their child. And we just have to find little ways. And even if it's just talking about your colors while you're eating dinner, what color are your green beans, or what shape is your plate? It's a circle. Just little ways to bring that in, and it just continue to talk about play. And if you can play a board game, or if you can play I Spy on the way home in your car, just any kind of play that's interacting you and your child every day is so important. So just kind of to wrap that up, um, it talked about three very significant things in the book: the significance of the relationships with your small children, the importance of the image of the young child, and how that affects their relationships, and the role of the environment can have on the learning and the development of a young child. So that just kind of summarizes it up. We have to have a great environment. We have to set up that environment for them, whether it be at home or school, and we just have to be positive role models for these kids. The more that we interact and the more we play, the more beneficial we are going to be to all these kids. And last, just a quick critique. I thought this book was great. It told me so many things that I kind of already knew, but just put in perspective for me. I thought the author did a great job of their chapter selection and picking the correct. Each topic gave me lots of information, but was set up easily for me to kind of find out. Oh, I want to learn about play, so I'm gonna look here. My only thing that I kind of would have wished she would have done differently is there was a ton of references and studies in the book, and she didn't bring in a whole lot of prior information about that. So if it was something that I kind of already knew about, I was okay. But if I didn't, I kind of, it was kind of hard for me to keep up with that and then jump back into, her storytelling. And so I just kind of wish she would have either stuck with more storytelling and left out some of the references and some of the studies, which I know you need to have statistics to back things up, but it was just kind of hard to follow in some places. But overall, I rate this book, very high. I thought it was a great book, and if any of you pre-K teachers or new parents, this is a great book to read, and I think it would just be, it's very insightful and very informative, and it would be great for anybody to read.